Hi, my name is Henry Loves Music, and I represent Henry, and Henry Legal Firm. Pleasure to meet you. Now, last time you guys saw me, I was offering my services to you, but I have something different in mind this time. Now, you may be asking, Henry, it's the week of Thanksgiving. You should be off. And to that I say, I am, which is why I'm not in my full suit. Not because I couldn't find it, but because of some recent legal events transpiring in the music space right now, I decided to record a little bit of a PSA for you guys. There's lots of misconceptions going around, and as a totally real and not fake lawyer, it's my job to help you. Recently, rapper Drake has filed a motion to sue another rapper by the name of Kendrick Lamar. I'm sure you've heard of both of these names before, over a song that Kendrick released called Not Like Us, which I'm sure you've also heard of, claiming that the song's popularity was inflated, the streams were botted, and that people were paid undisclosed amounts of money to promote the song without disclosing that they were paid undisclosed amounts of money. Drake has also claimed that the song is defamatory, throwing around accusations that he claims are not true, and is filing these motions against Universal Music Group, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, along with a few other parties mentioned in these documents. Lots of pages and pages of legal reports have been released, and I have read all of them, so you guys don't have to. I'm gonna go through all of these, break down the most important points that he's making, and then kind of look at the future for this lawsuit. So if that sounds interesting to you, my name is Henry Loves Music. Again, I represent Henry, and Henry Legal. Thank you for watching. And now, without all the effects here, let me actually tell you what's going on. I really hope that was smooth. That sounded really cool. Alright, so Drake has been pretty notorious through this entire beef for not handling it very well, and he's just kind of continuing to prove that with these lawsuits that he's serving. So yeah, let's talk about them. Now, before we go any further, I want to mention why I quoted lawsuits. As of right now, these papers are called petitions. They're kind of the precursor to lawsuits. Now, what these petitions do is that if the court decides to move forward with these lawsuits, they can order respective parties to preserve certain documents and stuff like that to make sure that they're ready for court. But they are actual documents that have been served, so let's go through them because I read them. Now, the first part of the lawsuit is essentially detailing fictitious streams, saying that Universal Music Group and Spotify paid people to use bots to artificially inflate Not Like Us's streams. In one of the motions filed by Drake, it says, in 2024, Universal Music Group did not rely on chance or even ordinary business practices to break through the noise on Spotify and likely other music platforms. It instead launched a campaign to manipulate and saturate the streaming services and airwaves with a song, Not Like Us, in order to make that song go viral, including by using bots and pay-to-play agreements. Alright, so we're gonna focus on that first term right there, bots, because this lawsuit kind of reads how you think Drake would have filed a lawsuit, because it just kind of talks about bots. But it doesn't really talk about what kind of bots or like where they're from. So let's just get this out of the way. Not Like Us is a very big song, if you can't tell already. On Spotify currently, I think it's sitting at like 900 million streams, which is crazy. Big talk of the town was that on the first day of Not Like Us's release, it achieved. Hi guys, Editor Henry here. In these next few parts, you're gonna hear me say 300 million instead of 30 million. I forgot what the number was at the time, and I think if Kendrick had gotten 300 million streams in one day, I would have sued him personally for botting streams. So, yeah, my bad. Just forgive me for being dumb. Switch it out in your brain. Thank you, bye. 300 million streams. And since it's a very big number, saying that you botted a certain amount of those streams is not like completely out of the realm of possibility. Yes, it's a big rap beef. Yes, there's a lot of people that have their ears on this, but 300 million is a big number, and I think saying that you use bots isn't like gonna completely get thrown out. The document said one individual unknown to petitioner revealed publicly on a popular podcast that Mr. Kendrick Lamar Duckworth's label, Interscope, paid him via third parties to use bots to achieve 30 million streams on Spotify in the first days of the release of Not Like Us. I don't know if you know how many people 30 million people is, But it's a lot. It's a lot more than I can fit in this camera or behind me, or like, you get the idea. So achieving 30 million streams in one day, saying that you botted those streams is not completely out of the realm of possibility. Not saying that's what happened, but I feel like legally this can be taken into consideration. But where kind of a wrench gets thrown into this whole thing is this, like, he said, she said kind of game. Like I said when I was reading the document, it says an individual unknown to Drake revealed on a popular podcast that he was paid. The train of evidence isn't really there. So far we have unknown third party paid by Interscope to use bots to inflate Not Like Us' streams. As much as I'm harping on this accusation, I believe this is all that the court needs, if this case moves forward, to ask Spotify or Interscope or whatever who paid who, if this is real, stuff like that. And Spotify has already come out and claimed that none of this is true. They didn't inflate the streams by any means. But so far we have unnamed third-party bots and unnamed third-party podcasters. So this is already going really well. Next we have the pay-to-play or payola accusations. Now if you don't know what payola is, it's essentially any time someone is paid to give a review or to talk about something or promote something in a positive light by the person that created whatever that is, and they don't disclose that they're being paid, which is illegal. Don't do that. For example, if my channel got a sponsor and I was promoting the product that the sponsor gave me, but I didn't disclose that it was a sponsorship, that would be illegal if those payments were ever discovered. And I would go to jail. But I don't have sponsors anyways, so I'm fine. But essentially what Drake is levying in these papers is that Universal Music Group paid the people like iHeartRadio and other groups and social media influencers to promote the song online in a very positive light, as opposed to all of the Drake diss tracks. So think like Kai Cenat, think Anthony Fantano, think NFR Podcast, who is mentioned in this lawsuit. This is no lie, probably my favorite thing that's happened because of this beef. I never thought I would ever see NFR Podcast in any kind of court document, but here we are. The document says, on information and belief, Universal Music Group employed a similar scheme by paying social media influencers to promote and endorse the song and video. For example, petitioner understands that Universal Music Group paid the popular NFR Podcast, which has nearly 300,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 330,000 followers on X, to promote Not Like Us and its video without disclosing the payment. As part of this deal with Universal Music Group, the NFR Podcast published podcast episodes, tweets, and other content publicly about the song. It also mentions the lift of all the copyright restrictions on the Not Like Us reactions, but that's not super important right now, so I'm not going to talk about it. But this accusation is very interesting. Saying that Universal paid NFR Podcast to make all of the content they did about Not Like Us is a very bad claim, in my opinion, but it also sheds light on stuff that actually does happen in music. If you've ever watched NFR Podcast, it's two guys, and they talk about primarily hip-hop music, just about what they like, their favorite rappers, stuff like that. And they covered Kendrick long before Not Like Us or any of this beef even started, so it's not entirely believable that they were paid off by Universal Music Group to talk good about this song. But the worst person you know just did make a good point. If you're doing promotion of any kind for artists, I do believe there should be some transparency with your audience on what is happening. Not only just like for the legal side of it, but also just in general. I feel like being genuine to your audience is pretty cool. But I don't think Universal Music Group paid NFR to say good stuff about Not Like Us. And something very important that I need to note is that if you didn't know, Universal Music Group is also Drake's label. Kendrick operates under Interscope, which is owned by Universal Music Group, but Drake is still signed to Universal Music Group. So he's suing his own label, saying they inflated and paid people to talk good about a song that's talking about him badly, even though it's his label. I don't know. Okay, let's move past the money part and get to the actually juicy stuff, the defamation. I'm gonna read a good chunk from this article, so if you just want to skip to me talking about it, just go to right here. But it says, earlier this year, one of the artists that Universal Music Group has under contract presented Universal Music Group with a new song called Not Like Us. Before it approved the release of the song, Universal Music Group knew that the song itself, as well as the accompanying album art and music video, attacked the character of another one of Universal Music Group's most prominent artists, Drake, by falsely accusing him of being engaging in acts harboring and committing other criminal acts. Specifically, the song calls Drake a certified A and someone whose name should be registered and placed on Neighborhood Watch. Pursuant to its rights under various contracts, UMG has exclusive control over the licensing of Not Like Us and could have refused to release or distribute the song or required the offending material to be edited and or removed. But UMG chose to do the opposite. UMG designed, financed, and then executed a plan to turn Not Like Us into a viral mega hit with the intent of using the spectacle of harm to Drake and his businesses to drive consumer hysteria and, of course, massive revenues. Basically, what this is saying is that all the accusations are false. UMG knew they were false, but they still let the song come out. I don't know, man. I think this part is very interesting to me because, all jokes aside, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a dude that really likes music and reads a little bit too much into things. But I feel like this is gonna open a pretty big can of worms that could very easily backfire on Drake, like really badly. So do you guys happen to know what a subpoena is? Subpoena? Hopefully I'm saying that right. A subpoena or witness summons is a writ issued by a government agency, most often a court, to compel testimony by witness or production of evidence under a penalty for failure. So essentially a subpoena is a court telling you to either show up somewhere or give them something. So what that means is that all of these quote-unquote false, according to Drake, accusations being levied in the song are going to have to be proven false. That means Drake and all of his parties will have to come with conclusive evidence showing that these are false to win this lawsuit. And then let's just say the aftermath of this case causes it to go criminal and Drake is prosecuted for these things. They could subpoena a lot of stuff from Drake. Specifically, what I saw a lot of people mentioning, deleted text messages. So in the event that this is all just a scare tactic and they have some kind of either falsified evidence or just whatever they come with, the court can order a copy of Drake's deleted text messages or anything they see fit that would attack these accusations. And that might not go very well for him, if you know what I'm saying. Now I want to point out something really quick. If this case decides to end up going into a full lawsuit and it ends with Drake losing and something really big is proven, let's say that the accusations in the song are proven to be true. This lawsuit will not end with him being arrested. That's not what a lawsuit does. If the accusations are proven to be true, the lawsuit will be lost and that'll be the end of it. Then there will have to be a criminal case opened up and he'll be tried for that and stuff like that. But I don't want to see anybody, if this case moves forward and stuff is proven to be true, why isn't Drake arrested? Why did they arrest Drake yet? What's going on? Just wait. So we're in a very interesting spot where if this case decides to move forward, we are going to see in a court of law whether Not Like Us is true, which is crazy to me. Okay, that kind of covers all the meat and potatoes of the documents that were sent in. But where do we go from here, man? Like what what can of worms did this case just open up? This segment is gonna be mostly my opinion. We've kind of got all the facts, accusations, and legal stuff out of the way. This is just what I think personally is gonna happen because of this. This rap beef, as I'm sure you've seen across the last couple months, is so much bigger than anything we've ever seen before. At least in like my lifetime. And it's evolved into something so much bigger than just making songs attacking each other. These are real allegations being levied. And with those allegations, Drake has handled them so poorly across his diss tracks, across what he's doing now, just like in general. He hasn't been doing very well. But I think one important thing that people are kind of forgetting right now is that Drake said that he fed all of this information to Kendrick. I believe this was in the Heart Part 6, but there's literally like multiple lines about how the rat that Kendrick was talking about in all of his songs was actually a fake rat and was feeding him fake information about his supposed daughter and about all these different allegations and stuff like that, so that Kendrick would go out and make songs like Not Like Us and stuff like that. The final nail in the coffin solidifying Drake as the winner of this beef or whatever. But to go a step further and file a lawsuit claiming that Kendrick was defaming him over fake info that he supposedly gave him, I really want to hope that he knows what this means. Drake could have pretty easily left this kind of open-ended. You know, all the songs are released, Kendrick releases Not Like Us, and then Drake, The Heart Part 6, and says, ha, we got you, all your info's fake, you're done. And then people could decide whether they believe him or not, but this would just be at least somewhat better for him. But now he's suing his own label, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and NFR Podcast for info that he said was fake, that he knew was fake, that he gave to Kendrick. It just doesn't make sense. Is this probably because of all the success Kendrick has been seeing with the single and his surprise album? Most definitely. Is it really funny that Drake's ops are Steve Lacy and NFR Podcast? Also yes. But I think for right now we're just gonna have to kind of go with the flow and see what this brings us. I mean, like I said, these are still petitions. They're not technically real lawsuits yet. So we're just gonna have to see what the court does with these, if they decide to actually move forward with this. And if so, we're gonna have a really, really, really funny case to watch. And if that happens, you know, my life is good. I can die happy. That's all I need to see. But yeah, in order to keep the yapping to a minimum, I think we're gonna cut it here. I wasn't doing YouTube whenever the actual beef was going on, so I kind of missed out on all the diss tracks dropping and stuff like that. But this is still like one of the biggest controversies in music in my entire lifetime, and it would be kind of silly not to say anything about it. So there you go, I suited back up. I'm gonna try a new editing style behind me. We'll see if that works. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Subscribe. That would be really cool. And yeah, I'll see y'all next week. Goodbye.